Tenali Raman and the Handful Grain. A long time ago in Vijayanagar, there lived a beautiful woman called Vidyullatha. She was a learned lady who was highly accomplished in all fields of fine arts. She had a deep sense of pride and was very arrogant about her abilities. One day, she put a hoarding outside her house that said, "A reward of 1,000 gold coins will be presented to those who are able to defeat me in humor, wit, and the knowledge of ancient texts." This became an issue of prestige for all the scholars in the region. Many of them took up the challenge and tried to defeat Vidyullatha in the war of words, but none succeeded. Days passed like this. One morning, a vendor happened to pass by her house, selling firewood. The man was shouting at the top of his voice, "Firewood! Strong firewood! Who wants my strong and long-lasting firewood?" The vendor had a shrill voice and shouted continuously, which irritated Vidyullatha. She stormed out of the house and called to the vendor.
"Oh vendor, come here. I will buy your firewood. Just tell me how much you want for it. Just please stop shouting."
The vendor replied, "Madam, I will not sell this firewood for money. If you can give me a handful grain, I will readily give you all the firewood I have." Vidyullatha promised to give him what he wanted and ordered him to dump the firewood in her backyard. The vendor said, "I need a handful of grain, madam. Have you understood me clearly?"
Are you asking me whether or not I have understood what a handful of grains mean? I am the most learned lady in the entire district. I know what you want. Now stop arguing with me and put this firewood in the backyard.
The vendor persisted and said, "Madam, I pity you. You really do not know what I want. If you cannot pay the price, you will have to pay me 1,000 gold coins and wipe the hoarding you have put up on your compound wall." Vidyullatha was infuriated. She asked angrily,
What nonsense are you saying?
The vendor replied, "This is no nonsense. I told you the price and you agreed to it. If you cannot pay the price, you must give me 1,000 gold coins, for you have clearly failed to understand what I meant. And considering that, I have defeated you in the war of words." A heated argument ensued between the two, till Vidyullatha decided to approach the provincial court of law for justice. She presented her argument in front of the judge, saying,
My lord, this firewood vendor is crazy. He asked for a handful of grains in lieu of his load of firewood. I agreed to give him that, but he keeps saying that I do not know what it means and wants me to remove the board in front of my house. I plead for justice.
The judge looked at the vendor and asked him what the matter was. He humbly replied, "Sir, I informed her beforehand that the load of firewood would cost her a handful grain. I actually wanted 1 grain to be given in her hand. If she cannot understand this much, she has no right to put up that hoarding in front of her house." Vidyullatha was outwitted by the firewood vendor, and the verdict was given in favor of the vendor. Vidyullatha was ordered to pay him 1,000 gold coins and ordered to take down the hoarding from her wall. That witty vendor was none other than Tenali Raman.
Ooh!
He had also heard about Vidyullatha's arrogance and haughtiness and had thus taken the guise of a firewood vendor to teach her a lesson. What do we learn from Vidyullatha here? That you must be humble about your achievements and intelligence.